Hello and welcome to my book review on Regenesis, authored by George Monibet, and the video presentation created by Charles Kruger. So in this presentation there will be 4 distinct chapters, starting with why the book was chosen, then Chapter 2 Content and Understanding, Chapter 3 Connections and Relevance sections. Finally at 4 Personal Engagements and Reflection. Chapter 1 Why this book was chosen. This book was chosen because it was on the book list. I have some interest in environmental sustainability, and I was in search of cool facts and truths about our lives. The way I read the book was through a PDF I found online that was very simple to read. Chapter 2 Content and Understanding. Book Summary. Regenesis covers the food systems and our relationships with them, and uncovers things we may not know about them. Once upon a time, everyone had to grow their own food, and now that's changed. Large farms make most of the food, and this shift has had negative consequences on the environment. Later chapters discuss emerging scientific research and technological developments that could influence the future of food production. Monbiot considers how these developments might change how food is produced and how land is used, while also reflecting on the cultural and economic forces that shape public attitudes toward farming and food. The author also considered farmers and scientists with different perspectives on making food and the range of techniques used. A key idea in the book is that soil is its own organism that must be supported and cared for. The author says soils have fungi and bacteria that help plants stay healthy and function like a system like coral reefs. The argument that our food system is vulnerable was made throughout the passage. It stated that diets are dependent on wheat, rice, maize, and soybeans, and disruptions to these could affect the food security worldwide. There is emerging technology that could disrupt and change food production methods. There is a way to produce proteins using hydrogen that would require so much less land than traditional practices. To produce the same amount of protein, the statistic is only 0.5, that's 0.5% of land, than in traditional farming. Chapter 3 Connections and Relevance. The author actually does a good job in this book, whether they meant it or not, to connect it back to the theme of justice. Monbiot explains that many people cannot afford healthy food even when food seems cheap overall, meaning poorer communities often face worse nutrition and food insecurity. This highlights an issue of social justice, where access to healthy and sustainable food is not distributed fairly across society, since it shows the unsustainable side of the food production system and offers possible solutions. This book is sustainability themed, as the author wants the food production system to be sustainable and points out that at the current moment, it is not. Monbiot emphasizes that healthy soil ecosystems and biodiversity are essential for maintaining sustainable agriculture by supporting soil microbes, diverse crops, and natural ecological processes. Farming systems can remain productive without relying heavily on synthetic fertilizers or damaging ecosystems. And also the book discusses new technologies and farming methods that can reduce the amount of land needed for agriculture. The theme of resilience is understated in this book. The author says that soil quality is necessary for agriculture, and soil that is resilient and healthy that can be cultivated like growing crops. Regenesis shows that resilience in food systems depends on building agricultural systems that can adapt, recover, and continue functioning despite environmental and economic challenges. The relevance of this book and its relation to today's context is significant because developing new and better food systems is a global challenge that is becoming more urgent due to climate change and environmental sustainability. Chapter 4 Personal Engagement and Reflection. The most compelling idea that was brought up in this book was that soil is actually a living organism. It is probable that not many people know this. The most challenging part of this book was that the current direction our food systems are headed is not sustainable. This raises the question of how changes should be made in the future. This book inspired me to take more action in a sustainable way, whether it's joining an eco-conscious business, starting an at-home food system, or starting a green social media page. These projects reinforce the significance of environmental student and why we should be taking out work seriously.